Hello everyone, welcome to Developers Checkpoint. In today's video, we are going to learn about the internals of Kafka. We have already discussed a lot about the components of Kafka and the architecture of Kafka in the previous videos. I will highly suggest to go through those videos first before jumping into this video. What are the topics that we are going to cover today? So we are going to understand the flow of requests between the broker and the clients. We will see what type of information is shared between a broker and the client. After that, we are going to understand the flow of request for a particular producer. We will understand how the producer gets to know the information of the broker on which it has to publish a message. And after covering that, we are going to understand the flow of request for the consumer. So without any further ado, let's dive into the video. So we have already discussed about the replication in Kafka. The message that is written to a particular replica is replicated across multiple brokers that are hosting a copy of that replica. So if we are having multiple brokers that are running an application of Kafka, those brokers will have a partition that is going to take care of a subset of the keys. And among those partitions, one of the partition will be selected as the controller node, and that controller node will be responsible for all the read and write operations that is to be performed for the particular partition. So if any kind of data has to be written on this partition, that information will flow through this controller node only. And similarly, in case of a consumer, if any of the data is read from the particular partition, information will flow only through the controller node of the particular partition. So we have replicas, we are having a controller node. So the producer is going to publish a message to the controller node of the particular partition. And similarly, the consumer is going to poll the particular broker for the particular partition. Okay, so the controller node is very important for the particular partition because it handles all the read and write operations that has to be done for the partition. So the request that is flowing between the producer and the brokers and the broker and the client has following headers. So the first header will be a request type. This variable tells what type of request the client is making. Generally, this is equal to a API call. After the request type, we are having a request version. This variable tells what version of the client the particular application is running. Any type of serialization or customization based on the version number of the client can be handled using the request version. After that, we are having a client ID. So any of the client, whether a producer or a consumer, when connected to the Kafka cluster will have a client ID. This client ID is used for identifying the particular client. And after that, we are having a correlation ID. This correlation ID is the ID of each and every request. This correlation ID will be very helpful for us if we want to debug any issue with the Kafka. So these are the request headers which each and every request the producer or the consumer is making to the Kafka brokers. Now let's move to the brokers again. So we are having a multiple replicas and those replicas are hosted on top of the brokers. Now we are going to zoom into a particular broker. Now let's dive deep into the threading model of this particular broker. So what type of threads it used to spawn and what are the specific use cases of those threads. Okay, so we are having a Kafka broker. Whenever any request, whether a request for read or write operation is coming to the Kafka broker, that request will go to the network thread. The network thread has the responsibility of managing all the incoming and outgoing API calls, all the requests. Once the request is received at the network thread, it will pass that request to the request queue. So a request will come to the network thread. After that, it will be passed to the request queue. So the request queue will keep those requests in a queue and will try to execute them one by one. This request queue is also very important in order to maintain the order of messages that we are pushing to Kafka. Once the request is in the request queue, after that it will move to for execution and it will move for IO thread. The IO thread has the responsibility of reading and writing data from the disk. So if we are writing any message, that message has to be written on the disk or in memory. That flow is controlled by the IO thread. The task of the IO thread is done. The information is moved to the response queue. This queue holds all the information that is sent back to the client. And after response queue, the information will flow through the network thread again, and after that it will be sent back to the client. So now let's move to the producer. So the producer is someone that is making API calls and publishing data to the Kafka topic. So in order to push some message into the particular topic, the producer has to get the information of the controller node of the particular partition. So what does it do? So it is firstly going to make a API call to fetch the metadata. This metadata contains the information of the various brokers. It contains the information of the various partitions, and it also contains what partition is hosted on which of the broker. So the producer is going to fetch the metadata from any of the broker nodes. This information will be available at all the broker nodes, and once it is having the information of which partition is hosted on which broker, it can make an API call to particular broker. So for example, this producer has to produce some messages. So firstly what it will do the consistent hashing. By doing the consistent hashing, the producer will get the information of which partition the message is meant for, and after getting the information of the partition, it will fetch the information of the broker ID and the IP of the broker from the metadata information, and will send the request to particular broker to publish the data. So these clients used to cache this information, the information of the metadata on its side, so that it does not have to make the API calls for the partitions again and again. So now what happens if the metadata information on the particular client is outdated? Okay, so for example, let's say this was the controller node, and the client was having the information of the controller node, and it was making API calls to this node only. But after some time, this controller node lost its connection, and this is the new node. So this is the new controller node, this one is the older controller node, and the producer is trying to push message to this broker. So in this case, this producer will get the error as not a leader. Okay, so once the producer or the client is getting this error, that is the particular broker it is making the API call is not the leader of the partition, the producer will make the API call for the metadata again, fetch the latest information of the controller node and the various partition, make the API call to the new controller node to publish the data. Now when the producer has published the data to a particular partition, that data will not be considered, or that message will not be considered as published till the point that information is replicated across all the nodes. By all the nodes, I mean to say the number of nodes we have marked as ACK. For example, we have marked ACK is equal to 1. So in that case, the information will float only to one of the replica. The ACK equal to all. In that case, the information will be considered published if that is replicated across all the nodes. And if we are having ACK equal to 0, in that case, only the controller node will write the information and will not wait for the acknowledgement of any of the replicas, and will consider the information as published. So we have discussed about the producers and the architecture of Kafka broker. Now let's move to the consumer. So the consumer performs the same action. It makes the API call to fetch the metadata first, and once it is having the metadata, it will reach out to the particular broker and request it to provide the information of the particular partition. The broker used to keep a flag offset that it specifies that till what position in the particular partition the broker has consumed the messages. So the flow of information will be something like that. The broker will make the API call for fetching the metadata. After the metadata, it will get the information of the partition and the respective broker ID, and it will keep on fetching the information from the particular broker by passing the offset. And once the messages are being executed or consumed by the consumer, it is going to update the offset, and this will continue till the point there are no messages on the particular partition. So along with the information of the headers that we have discussed earlier, the consumer also asks for two things. It asks for the threshold size of the information. So for example, it can ask the broker to send all the messages greater than the particular offset if the size of the messages is greater than 100 KBs. So by doing this, we do not have to make to and fro API call between the broker and the consumer for exchanging smaller bits of data. So we are going to perform a sort of micro batching here, where we are consuming data in chunks. It can also ask the broker to have the maximum limit of the data. So it can ask brokers, so provide me the data if it is greater than 100 KB and less than 400 KB. This maximum limit can be used by the consumer to allocate memory for storing that information, so that it does not end up having a out of memory exception. So the broker is going to ask chunks of messages whose size is between the minimum and the maximum, and it is also going to provide a timeout. So what does this mean? So if the particular partition is not having a lot of messages, so the consumer is not going to wait till eternity to meet the minimum size. So it is going to ask the broker to provide any messages if the size of the message is greater than 100 KB or the particular timeout has expired. So for example, it can provide, let's say, 1 second. So if 1 second has elapsed, the broker will provide all the messages to the consumer. Or if the size of the messages is greater than 100 KB within 1 second, in that case, the broker will send the information to the consumer. This is the request flow between the various components of the Kafka. We will discuss more about Kafka in the later videos. So guys, that is for the video. Please like and share the video if you like the content and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video. Till then, goodbye.